So last week was Mayor Week. Somebody was not here last week. So he's here this week on this Monday. St. Catharines Mayor Mat Siscoe, good to see you.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Okay, so you have some things going on tonight at this council meeting.
We do.
Okay, so Alexander Watson statue.
Yes, Private Watson.
Watson.
This is the statue that's been on City Hall front lawn for over, 120 years. It was brought there, so Private Watson was a soldier who fought in the Northwest Resistance against the indigenous groups in Manitoba. It was raised at the time because he died in battle. It was used as the city's cenotaph for a number of years. The mayor of the day, this was supposed to be a gravestone, and the mayor of the day co-opted it and moved it to City Hall. So it's been there for a long time. But in the last couple of years, the indigenous community said, listen, this is really difficult for us. You know, this was, I think Canadian history has sort of recognized that what used to be called the Northwest Rebellion was actually the Northwest Resistance, and these were indigenous peoples standing up for their rights. Even the Canadian government has seemed to, back off and say that this wasn't the right course of action. So it's come up a number of times to take this statue down as a part of our, path to truth and reconciliation with the indigenous community. It failed the last time.
Last time was when?
2020 and 2021. We had a number of debates.
It was close, though.
It was. It was a 6-6 vote, which means that it loses on the tie. We're bringing it back now because the other piece that some of my colleagues aren't talking about is it's crumbling.
Can we bring up
apart.
the picture again, Laura, that first picture that you do see that it is not in good shape, the statue itself?
It's really not. And so this is, my frustration is, council of the day 2 years ago said, well, we're just going to leave it. So they didn't want to put any money towards fixing it up, but they also didn't want to take it down. And I've said, that's actually the most disrespectful path we can take. You're saying to the indigenous community, well, we don't care that this is difficult for you, that it causes trauma for some of the people in the indigenous community, but we also don't care about the memory of Private Watson to the point where we would fix the statue up. So what I've said is, let's take it down, let's be respectful with it. I've suggested perhaps we can bury it at Victoria Lawn Cemetery where Private Watson is buried, and move on and find something that's more representative of the community on the front lawn of City Hall. We get into a lot of debates and people want to try and make this a culture war thing, but I've said, communities are allowed to change their minds about what they want to celebrate. And this is celebrating something that, as a community, even people who support the statue say, well, no, we wouldn't choose to put something up to honor the fight against the indigenous peoples now. Well, then let's take it down, because I think there are more representative things we could have on the front lawn.
What's going to happen tonight?
So I brought the motion. We're going to have a vote. I'm confident that my colleagues, we're going to have members, representatives from the local indigenous community, the Niagara Regional Native Center. One of the executive directors is going to come and speak along with a couple of other folks. And I think when my colleagues on council hear the reasons why they think it's important to come down, weigh the pros and cons, I think we will make the decision tonight. I'm hopeful that we'll make the decision to take it down.
Okay, we'll be following that for you. You want to do a minute on asset management?
Asset management, you know what, this is the least sexy of all of the topics, but it's so important. We have our asset management plan coming to St. Catharines tonight. It's an update, and good job to the provincial government. I don't give credit usually, but way back in 2012, the provincial government of the day said, you need to have asset management plans. So we've been working through a process over the last decade. We're getting close to the end of the process, and it's shining a light on a big deal, which is in St. Catharines, we're almost $700 million backlog in infrastructure. At the region last week, in the region of Niagara, we heard that by the end of the next 10 years, we're going to have a $1.9 billion infrastructure deficit. This is a problem. And, cities only take in about 8% of the taxes, but we're responsible for 2/3 of the infrastructure.
So where's the rest of the taxes go?
It all goes to the province and the feds, and they only give us some if we beg for it. So I've said, we need to shine a light on this and tell the upper levels of government, listen, your funding model's broken. If we're responsible for all this infrastructure, we can't put it on the property tax base. We need the upper levels of government to help create funding packages or give us the tools to be able to create funding packages so that we can actually deal with these backlogs, because people see it, right? It's roads that are crumbling. We're very lucky in St. Catharines. We have excellent water infrastructure, which is a safety and a public health issue, but it's the roads and it's the buildings and it's the arenas and it's the things that drive people nuts on a daily basis. People get upset when we raise taxes, but if we don't raise taxes, then we can't afford to pay for it, because the construction industry, you think inflation is bad at the grocery store. In the construction industry, we're seeing increases, 20-30% a year. So we need help from the upper levels, and I'm hopeful we'll be able to shine a light tonight at the city and at the region about just how big this issue is and bring some attention to it.
There's a lot going on tonight, isn't there?
It's a busy night.
Ice Dogs won the first game.
They did.
That's good. That's good news. Let's end on a high.
Go Dogs, go!
Yeah.
You know what? It's a young team. It's an exciting team. Kevin He is my guy. He is going to be a great young prospect. Owen Flores and net. Like we're lucky. We've got a lot to build on in Niagara, and I'm as a 13-year season ticket holder. I'm quite excited.
Good stuff. Your Rangers are doing pretty good too.
Texas Rangers. I told you. There's a seat on the bandwagon, and you're more than welcome to sit next to me. I
want Philadelphia Phillies. I like the Phillies.
Oh, you know what? Bryce Harper. And there have been a couple of moments caught in those Phillies games that just make my heart sing.
That's what I want the Blue Jays to be. I want the Blue Jays to be Philadelphia Phillies. All right, good stuff. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see you next month. Last Morning Live. What day is today? It is Monday. Yeah. See you in a couple.